All right, I'm going to keep this video as quick as possible because if you're anything like me, you're an aspiring young man who has already seen a bunch of these videos on the internet and have still never overcame your lust. Well, the truth is, lust given in these videos is not treated as a system or treated as a habit, but rather it's treated as emotion. But why would you try to overcome emotion through more emotion? You always just fail every time you consider emotion. So don't consider it as some sort of emotion. Consider lust as a habit. Rather, consider it as a habit you can untrain, right? Just like how you can stop playing video games and start going to the gym, you can stop lusting and start loving or doing something else. And that comes through replacing. It comes through the simple truth of being honest with yourself. So think about it this way. The root cause of lust really isn't what you think. The root cause of lust comes from idleness and isolation. Well, isolation is a given. When you're not surrounded by people to keep you appropriate or to encourage you to do the right things through accountability, then you're likely to lust, right? After all, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. But if you hang out with no one, who's to tell you what to do? Nevertheless, it's harder to lust when you're in a building than it is to be all alone. So, and then secondly, when you're all alone, you find idleness. You're not doing anything. And when you're not doing anything, it's likely to lust. People think failure is not succeeding, but failure is doing nothing at all. And if you're doing nothing, then you're failing. If you're doing nothing, you're likely to lust. Why? Because lust is easy. And in life, it's easy to do nothing. And in this, you got to realize lust is there to fill this emptiness in your heart. Why? Well, we have this emptiness in our heart because men want things. We want family. We want God. We want a beautiful girlfriend. But we think until then lust will fill our heart and then magically will stop. But you got to realize when lust enters your heart, it only makes the void larger. Why? Well, because we lust, we feel really good because it literally scientifically not only triggers dopamine, but it triggers every part of our brain because it feels like we're having sex. At least in our brain it does. So it triggers every part of our brain, so we feel good. And then it's gone and we have regret. And that regret makes it ever so larger. So when you're lusting to fill that void and your void gets larger, what do? You're going to lust again, more and more and more and more. You're like a crack addict, right? You take crack to fill that void in your heart and then you get addicted to it, constantly taking it because you want to chase the high and you want to feel good. It's the same thing. I'd go as far as to say lust is the worst addiction on the world because we have governments targeting men to make them want to lust more, to make them weaker. And additionally, you got to realize lust comes from your idleness, which is from low sleep or no goals or no spiritual aim or no mission or no challenge. You got to not only make it harder to lust, but make it easier to succeed in life. People forget about that. People think lust, overcoming it is all about, making it harder to lust. But that's not the case. You don't make it harder to lust when you make it harder to lust and make it easier to succeed if you want to win. And in that, you got to realize lust is not about a battle. Right? It doesn't matter how old you are, how many kids you got, whether you're in a relationship or not, you're always going to be lusting as a man. The same way you're always going to be greedy, you're always going to be hungry, right? You're always going to lust. So if lust is always going to be with you, it's infinite, it's overpowering, you don't fight it because as you know with everything you've done in life, you're eventually going to get tired and not want to do it. You're going to fail. You're going to give up. So how do you overcome lust? You don't fight it, you flee from it. Even in the Bible, it says lust is the only sin you flee from. There's a famous story where a woman tried to sleep with this man and he ran so fast his cloak flew off. Now, I'm not saying run down the hallway with your butt cheeks out, just coming out of the bathroom because you were going to lust. But I'm saying you need to flee from it. And what do? You replace it with other things so it's easier. You get impulsive and you get up and stop and you go and do things, right? If you want to stop lust, you need to have more than willpower. You need to have the habits put in place. But why willpower? Well, willpower doesn't work, right? You probably thought, oh, I'll just stop. But how many times have you told yourself or God or your friends and family you're going to stop lusting and then you lusted? Probably 1,000 times easily. I can say confidently, I've said to myself and God, I'll lust or I'll stop lusting, and then I would lust nonetheless, even though I said I wouldn't. So willpower alone won't work. And think about it this way too. The millionaire, he doesn't have this insatiable willpower that got him there. And he's not some sort of otherworldly human being who's grinding it out every second to get his money. He has the habits. So what do I mean by habits? Well, habits are just things you do naturally that are easy. Just the same way it's easy to play video games or pick up junk food, it's easy for him to make and manage money because it's just part of his life. It's easy for a man who's gone to the gym every morning for 10 years straight to go to the gym tomorrow, and it's easy for an Olympic runner to run a mile because it's just naturally part of their life. So make overcoming lust and doing healthy things a part of your life to the point where it's easy. And easy is a big word here. You want to make it easy. Why would you want to make it hard to lust when you can make it easy to do other things? Make it easy on yourself. Because you don't have have a lot of attention. You don't have a lot of attention or energy to give to things as a man. right? Your time is sacred, your effort is sacred. So make it easy to overcome things and be sparing with your attention. Give none to lust and give it all to something else. And why? Well, the only proven method here, the only proven method to really get over lust from my own experience and from my friends and family is to do these three things. You got to remove it, you got to replace it, and you got to rewire yourself. And the first step here, well, I'll even go ahead and say step zero. Step zero here is being honest. Well, who are you being honest with? Not yourself. So, you've got to start. Be honest with yourself. Don't be honest with your friends, right? I'm not encouraging you to go out and tell your friends and family you're jerking off every day, but be honest with yourself. That's step zero, right? Be honest with yourself, and even helps to be honest with God. Because the thing is, you can see through your own lies. You can tell when you're lying. You can tell when someone asks how you're doing and you say the wrong thing. So why would you lie to yourself? So be honest with yourself. And why do you have to be honest? Well, if you be honest, you can find things out. You can learn when you lust, how you lust, who it is you're around that you lust for, or this and that. And as a result of being honest with yourself, you can start cracking down and finding solutions. If you're never talking about it, the solution is never found. If you're never talking about it, the problem is never confronted. And in that, you find removal. So if you're bringing your phone to the bathroom, stop, remove it. If you are bringing your phone to bed, stop, remove it. The same way, if you want to stop playing video games, you delete them. If you want to stop lusting, you get rid of the lust, right? Remove it. Remove the apps on your phone. Put in parental services to remove websites. Make it as easy as possible. Remove thoughts from your head. Make it really easy by just removing things. But you can't just remove things, because then we go back to square one. You're idle. You have nothing to do, so you're going to fall back into it. And additionally, take this energy and spend it on elsewhere. Because if you have this built up energy, you're just going to spend it lusting, because it's actually really easy to lust for men. After all, we desire. It's like a drug. Would a crack addict not rather take crack than go to anything else? So would someone who's infested with lust, would he not rather lust than anything else? So you got to fill that desire and all that energy with the next thing. So for me, I don't bring my phone to the bathroom. I have a book in the bathroom. And not only have I now almost read an entire book on my own, that was about healthy communication, which is awesome, but I'm stopping lusting, because I'm fleeing from it and filling it and replacing the energy with energy towards healthy things that benefit my life. Anyways, think about it this way. If you're having, morning lust, go have a cold shower, pray, and walk. You can't lust when you're talking to God. You can't lust when you're out in public walking. And you're certainly not going to lust when you're having a freezing cold shower. And cold showers make you healthier. Praying increases your relationship with God. And walking is good for health. Those are all amazing things. And it doesn't matter what time of the day. You can always apply different things to your life. But that all comes with being honest, because I don't know who you are. I don't know how you work, but you certainly do. So take time to appreciate those things and be honest to discover the solutions. And finally, you also have to rewire yourself. You have to change your identity. You have to say to yourself, I'm not the man who's going to betray his future wife. And that's a big one. Lust is not dangerous to yourself. It's dangerous to the people you love. The same way you as a man don't want your woman to be pounded by 1,000 other guys, your future woman doesn't want you absolving within lust, watching porn and masturbating. So lust isn't necessarily just harmful to you. It's harmful to your friends and family. Your friends don't have someone to look up to. Your family doesn't have a strong son. And your future wife most certainly won't have a good father, as necessarily like a good father figure for her children, right? You're going to want children one day. So would you not want to be a good man for those children? Would you not want to be a good example? And additionally, women suffer with this stuff, right? While lust is targeted more to men, even by governments to this point, with, giant systems put in place to put us down and belittle us, right? Women are taught to sell their bodies, men are taught to buy them. But this ultimately hurts your future wife in the process, because how is she going to feel when you're constantly looking at other naked women all the time, right? Women are obsessed with man's attention. They need men's attention to exist. Women crave a man's attention, and they're always worried if he truly cares about her. So you're screwing her over in the future if you're always lusting. So even if you don't want to do it for yourself, find ways to do it for other people. But in this, you have to realize, why do we relapse? Why do we always fall short? Well, we're going to fail, but realize true failure isn't not achieving success. True failure is doing nothing, right? As nothing leads us to do worse things. And in that, you find shame. Now, shame is nice because we feel bad and we, want to do the right thing. But sometimes shame can be damaging, because shame can result in us in never trying ever again. So you got to be wise, and you have to be gentle with yourself. You have to make it so easy to stop lusting that it's impossible to lust ever again. Make it so easy, and that doesn't mean having insane willpower. That doesn't mean chaining your hands together. That doesn't mean sprinting. That means going for a walk. You don't read a whole book by skimming through the whole thing. You read a whole book at one word at a time. So make it easy, right? Like insanely easy, to the point where you're reading one page or one word or one letter, right? Make it easy, so easy, right? Because that way, like, you can think to yourself, lust isn't something that's hard. It's something that you don't battle. It's something that you flee from. Rather, it's something you run away from. And it doesn't have to be a sprint, it can be a slow walk. And you have to realize, when you do relapse, when you do fail, you can't give up, because when you fail, you might have to give up everything else, right? If you're going to the gym to avoid lusting and you start lusting, are you going to stop going to the gym? So you're hurting yourself. So you have to be confident enough and gentle with yourself enough to the point where if you do fail for a day, which is okay, you can still go to the gym. You can still work hard. You can still go to school. You can still talk with your friends. You can still be a really good member of society. And you can even be good to yourself and build yourself into being a better man. That way, you still have this accountability, and you still have all these things that are easy to do because they're part of your life and pull you out of lust. And that's the thing, they're habits. These are habits you have to build to the point where it's easy. Because a habit's easy. You naturally play video games. You naturally want to eat. You naturally want to work hard if you are working hard. A millionaire, with him, it's easy to make money because it's his habit. And you don't build habits when you become the thing. You build habits to become the thing you want to become. You don't, all of a sudden run an ultra marathon and then you can now run. You run so you can win the ultra marathon. That's why people will make fun of you if you want to become a millionaire, because you're putting in all the habits like saving money, never spending money, and people are going to call you weird. But if you were a millionaire, it would make perfect sense. But you don't become a millionaire to learn how to save money. You learn how to save money to become a millionaire. So you don't stop lusting and then achieve all these habits. You achieve these habits and then stop lusting. But you got to keep it easy. You got to always try again. You cannot give up. That's the biggest thing. You cannot give up. And in this, you'll find a reward. Because when you stop lusting, it's not like you have this weight off your chest. You actually have a reward. You think clearer. You lead better because you can think clearly and you're not blinded by your emotions. Emotions are important as a man, believe me. Men like to neglect their emotions, but emotions are essential because emotions involve your honesty and they involve reflection and they revolve around wanting to do the right thing. But in this, your emotions are a lot more clear. You're like a pole rooted in the center of the earth coming out of the ocean. You're hit by waves, you're struck by lightning, but you're moving nonetheless. And in this, you'll find more self-respect, which is huge, because in self-respect, you find more honesty, more reflection, you do better things. If you can overcome lust, you're likely going to overcome everything else in your life. And in this, you'll also find out actually how to love a woman, which is big because love will eventually overcome yourself and love will replace lust. So let love be the counter to lust. Don't just get rid of lust. Get rid of lust and fill your health with love. Fill your heart with love. Fill your body and soul with love. You can find that love with God especially, and you can find that love with a woman. I'm not saying, find a woman to overcome lust. I'm saying overcome lust to find a woman. You got to make the habits to find the goal. You don't find the goal to make the habits, right? But in these habits, you'll learn how to love. You'll be emotionally stable, and you'll get a spine to stand up for yourself. Because lust kills the man you can become, but, trying to chase that man you want to become will kill your lust. But overall, that's it. Be a good man, work hard, right? But you don't have to work so incredibly hard you're falling apart. Just have a walk, right? You don't have to sprint, have a walk. Make it easy on yourself. Make it so incredibly easy, it's impossible to fail. Like, seriously, help yourself out. Be gentle to yourself. Forgive yourself. And replace lust with something that's healthier. Not necessarily so that way it's harder to lust, but that way so you can do the right things. I replaced my phone with a book. Now I've almost read a book on communication. That's amazing. If every time you lust, you do 50 push-ups, you'll be bulked up. You'll be doing good. You'll be ripped. And you'll learn how to love. You'll learn how to be a good leader, and you'll learn how to be a good man. My name is Nolan T. Painter. I know this video is a bit more unique in its formatting, but I need to get this message out as quick as possible because all these men are going to watch thousands and thousands of how to do it videos, but they're never going to actually do it. They're never going to learn. So the best thing you can do is just do it. Don't start New Year's. Don't start Christmas. Start now. Why? Because if you start now, it'll be easier for you in the future because you would have built the habits. How do I know this? Well, I know this because you know this. We both know this. If you're sitting here right now and thinking to yourself, I wish I stopped lusting 10 years ago. I wish I stopped lusting 5 years ago. I wish I stopped lusting last year. I wish I stopped lusting last month. I wish I stopped lusting yesterday. Well, you don't say that for no reason. You say that because it's easier now if you had stopped lusting years ago. So stop now so you, years in the future, can say with confidence, I'm thankful because now I don't even have thoughts about lust anymore because I stopped that years ago. And there's benefits with that. You'll never be worried about it. You're never entangled with that ever again. So simply put it, start now. Seriously. You have no excuse. Don't wait. And if you wait till the end of the week to start, rather than starting now, you would have less days under your belt to be a stronger man and you would have spent those days actually digging yourself deeper in the hole. If you want to climb out of the hole, you drop the shovel and start climbing out. You don't sit and do nothing, and you certainly don't dig yourself deeper. Simply put, simple as that, right? Stop, start doing something better, and then you're good. My name is Nolan T. Painter. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.